Hey everybody, this is the ACEDC Noiz coin, or the Millcap version 2, and it's in stainless steel, stone washed. I'm going to take it apart, take a look at it, talk about it, and give you my first impressions. I just got it, but pretty happy with it. Okay, so I'm not into unboxings, but since I did just get this, I'll show you what you get in the package here. As usual, it's a pretty tight fit. Way. Usual box. I have 2 extra clickers, good, 2 extra springs and 1 extra ball. That's better than nothing. Sticker, 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 sticker. Okay. So that's the most important part, spare parts. We need more spare parts. So, right out of the box, I'm happy with it. I did change the orientation on the inside, or the configuration, so that I'm getting double the clicks out of it. What you have on the inside are a series of 20 detents and a series of blind holes that you can put a spring and a ball into. And if you put them across from each other, you get 20 clicks. If you put them in a different orientation, you'll get 40 clicks. So I'll show you that in more detail when we get on the inside. It's got a nice clicky button. Works really well. I can't speak as to how fast the back's going to come unspun, because it does not appear to be, held with an O-ring or anything. So I don't know if it's going to come loose or not. I think I've heard some people say that it might come loose on me. We'll see. I do like to spin it in both directions. Keep spinning it this way with your right hand. Theoretically, you're only just tightening that on the back. This whole back piece right here in the middle comes out. I'll show you. But if you turn it this way, you could be loosening it. We'll find out. It's a little heavy, but it functions really, really well. I just can't get over that, because in comparison, I don't have too much to compare it to. My first mechanical coin was this, which is fantastic, but it's got 14 total around the outside, and it's Ultim, so it's kind of a different classification all on its own. And then I got I think probably made by the same folks that made this, the stainless steel version, same number, 14 detents, and of course it functions differently. This one has so much mass to it that it kind of feels a little weird, like it might be too much weight. And then this came in the mail recently. It was a little bit of a disappointment. It's functioning, but it's not functioning at 100%, because I'm missing an O-ring back here, and you go back and watch my video about that if you want the details. I'll do an update video on this once that comes in and once I've had some time with it. But yeah, that's my experience with mechanical coins. So, to those 3, it's fantastic. And as I would rate these as probably this is the worst so far. This is the best, next best, third best, fourth best. But yeah, I think it's a winner maybe. I wish it was a little bit more abrasive on the surface. I think this is another candidate for sandblasting. I would leave this middle part nice and smooth, because I would prefer that it be smooth and not get caught on my fingers or anything. But the whole bottom piece and the whole top piece really deserves to be a blasted finish. A lot of these I think do. I was disappointed when this came in and it wasn't a blast. It looked like a blasted finish, and I also thought it was going to be stainless steel. It is stainless steel, but it's got some kind of PVD coating on it, which I wasn't expecting. This is stainless steel, and I don't know what kind of finish that is. It's probably a PVD coating also, but it's a little slippery, and I think that this could definitely stand to be sandblasted or media blasted, so to speak. Yeah, so let's go ahead and compare it to a few things and do measurements. I've already compared it to the other 3 mechanicals there, and like I said before, I don't have a lot of fancy, I don't have any Umbri coins. I don't have the stuff that most of you have, but I do have a few from AliExpress that a lot of you might have. There's this one in stainless. This is the larger version of this. There's a smaller version of this, but we'll do comparisons. Here's another stainless steel. And then there's another little stainless steel. This one's a little bit smaller in diameter. And of course, these last three I just showed you were all magnetic. But size-wise, we're talking 36 millimeters diameter, thickness of 11 millimeters, and the ball sticks up about millimeter, 2 millimeters, just like the lip here. Let's see if it lays flat. It does not lay flat, so the ball does stick up a little bit on the top there. I wonder how well it spins. Hold on a second. All right, let's see what happens if I try to spin it. It's trying. Let me give it a really good spin here. It's a little off center. Maybe that's because I have the two balls right now are kind of off center. They're not directly on the center line. I'll show you when we take it apart. It's actually spinning. Now, you know, if tops are your thing, this is a candidate. You could maybe laser etch an interesting pattern on this. That could go for a good while. I'm not going to try to measure it, but just interesting point there. You know, you could laser etch a pattern on there that would, you know, look cool when it warps. So that's interesting. I'm not really into tops, but yeah, I'm very happy with this so far. Let's take it apart. So to take it apart, all we have to do is apply some pressure to this back plate while we unscrew the front plate. There, I felt it break free. I'm just sort of using these two fingers to keep this back piece from spinning now that it's loosened. And finally, the top will come off. And what we have is a large ball, a clicker dome, the bottom piece and the top piece. Well, the bottom piece and the top piece doesn't really matter, does it? But this side does have the balls and the springs in it, of which one has accidentally slipped over into this hole. That happened during the unscrewing, the disassembly. But here's how it was. There's now a spring and ball here and a spring and a ball here. That's why I said when we did the spin test on that concave mirror, it was probably a little bit off balance because these two are off center. Had I had them in this configuration, it probably would have been just fine. So you can see there's 20 detents, and then you have some spring locations here, and you have an option, like I said, to give you 2 extra springs, but only 1 extra ball. I've got other balls. These are 4 millimeters, close to it. Right now, I have it set up so they're directly across, not directly across from each other. In a sense, they are, but you see how they're this would be directly across from each other. This is not. And the way I have it set up right now, when you spin it, gives you the most amount of clicks, which is 20 times 2, 40 clicks. Less distance between the clicks as you turn it. If we take the spring out and the ball out of one of these sides and move it over one, you will get 20 clicks instead of 40, and more distance between the clicks. That's what we're going to do here in a second. But I want to show you, let's just go ahead and dump those out so that they're out. So the interesting thing about this I found was there's a little Teflon ring in there instead of a bearing. And my first thought was, I wonder if they intended to put a bearing in there. But it's too thin. I've never seen a bearing, like a ring bearing that thin. So I'm sure the intent was to use a Teflon ring. It's just interesting. It's held in with a retention ring, so it is replaceable or at least cleanable. You know, I could see that getting dirty, so that's probably why that's there. Although they did not give you a key to take it apart. You can always use a pair if you have a nice pair of sharp dividers. You know what I mean? They look like scissors, but you can use those to undo something like that. At worst, a thick pair of paper clip bent around. You could bend around, mess around with that, but you shouldn't really need to take that apart unless you really need to clean it. But that's an interesting point. So let's go ahead and put it back together in the other configuration. So I'm going to put one spring and a ball here, and the other spring and the ball directly across the center line there. And then we'll put this little clicker dome back inside of that. That has to be oriented this way. Put the ball back in there. You do not need to get it all centered and balanced on that little divot. There's a little detent in the middle there. Just get it in there so it's in place. And then put them together like this. Take this piece. I want to come straight down and kind of be careful. At first you're going to engage the threads and you'll feel that coming. You won't feel the balls just yet, so let's do that. Now I'm starting to hear the balls are starting to make contact with the detents and stuff. And what I don't want to have happen is accidentally have the ball get tipped off of the spring. There might be enough space in here between these top and bottom plates for the ball to get kicked off, maybe into the next hole. So I'm going to try to maybe apply some pressure to the whole thing at this point as I finish tightening it up, or at least until I get it going sufficiently enough. Like there, I'm not totally done screwing it in. See, there's still more, but I'm convinced the balls aren't going to accidentally get kicked off to the side into one of the other adjacent holes. So I think we're about there. We might be there. Yeah, we're there. So this is 20 clicks in a full rotation instead of 40. And one thing I didn't mention in there is you could run this with just one ball. One ball would also give you 20 clicks, the same as I've got here, but it would be a little less force because there's, you know, one less ball and one less spring. And I had it set up like that earlier, and I think that's going to be my preferred method because this feels, I don't know, it feels a little tight to me. I'm not going to go ahead and pop it apart and do the same thing that I just showed you, but I'm probably going to take one of those balls and springs out and run it with just one ball and one spring. Other than that, I'm really happy about it. I've seen other people say that it might unscrew a little bit. I've already talked about that, haven't I? Yeah, we've done everything. We've taken it apart, we've measured it. Actually, I think we're nearing the end. Yeah, I'd sandblast it maybe. We'll see. I'll play with it for a while, and right now my fingers are kind of moist. It's not slippery, but earlier taking it apart the first time felt a little bit slippery to me, so I'm not sure what to think about that yet. Otherwise, I think this is another winning mechanical design. Love that. Love that little extra feature. Very nice. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye.